My Nen affinity lies in Conjuration, and my Hatsu's name is Memory Box. To begin using my ability, I conjure an intangible box that's only visible to others using Gyo. I'm able to store my memories in this box, and when my memories are stored, they're inaccessible to me. When I store memories in the box, my analytical senses are heightened, the degree to which is determined by the pertinence of the memory. So for example, if I were to fight someone and they explained their ability to me, I could store the memory of their explanation in the box in order to drastically increase the speed and sharpness of my analytical abilities. If I were to store the memory of my childhood pet, I'd gain effectively nothing. I can't store the same information twice, so if I learn or deduce something about my opponent and store it in the box, then figure out that same thing again, I can't store the information a second time. As I store more memories pertaining to my opponent's abilities, their memories of those aspects of themselves are partially stored in the box as well. The more memories of my deductions I store, the more their memory of their own abilities are clouded, which causes anxiety and hesitation. Because I forget the initial deductions from storing them, I effectively have to learn everything about my opponent twice, but the more things I learn for the first time and store in the box, the quicker I'm able to make the next deductions. If a full understanding of my opponent's ability's effect, along with all the conditions and restrictions that come along with it, are stored in the box, their memory of how to use their Hatsu vanishes completely until I deactivate my ability. Additionally, I can cloud the memory of their fighting habits, behaviors, and even personality traits if I'm able to notice or deduce them and store those memories in the box. I can't cause the full erasure I can use against Hatsu abilities, but it's enough to cause dulled reactions and mental stress, as eventually they have to think twice to remember even the most basic things about themselves. This ability doesn't work well against straightforward enhancers, as there isn't much to deduce about their abilities and they outclass me in both offensive and defensive power. My ability works better in drawn-out fights, where I'm able to evade my opponent at first, attempting to strike up conversation so I can get a read on their personality and possibly even their abilities if they have loose lips. The cycle my ability creates begins when I learn anything about my opponent, either from conversation or observation. I store that memory in the box, and because it's relevant to the fight I'm in, my senses sharpen. As my senses sharpen, I'm able to deduce more aspects of my opponent and their abilities, and I can store the memories of those deductions in the box to gain an even bigger increase. As my senses are sharpening, the box is clouding my opponent's memories, causing them to slip up and make mistakes for me to capitalize on. As they're pushed, I get to see how they react when they're forced to adapt to new situations, and if I deduce their thought process and mental state correctly, I can then store that in the box to grow even sharper and push them further into a corner. I can release the box whenever I want, and when I do, my analytical abilities are reset back to normal, and both me and my opponent gain back our memories simultaneously. I can't release the memories of my opponents or my own without the other. If my opponent deduces how my ability works in its entirety during battle, they gain their memories back, and I lose all of my memories pertaining to Nen, effectively starting my Nen journey back to square one. Additionally, I have to find at least one condition and one restriction to erase the memory of a Hatsu, so abilities that don't have one or the other, or both, can't be fully erased. These are the conditions that allow me to take other people's memories and make the box invisible without the use of Gyo, as these are pretty big tasks. When the box is deactivated, all memories of its mechanics are erased for anyone other than me that saw or was affected by it during its activation. I don't plan on killing everyone I battle, and I don't plan on letting my Nen get taken away by repeated encounters or spectators. Now, I'm going to give a little context to explain how this ability reflects me personally. When I'm reading or watching a story, I generally forget a lot of it on my first, second, and even third time engaging with it due to my terrible, and I mean just awful, memory. It's something that I find both endlessly frustrating and infinitely exciting. Because I forget so much, I feel like I get to rediscover aspects of a story for the first time, even after I've already finished it, and that keeps my excitement level high. I also absolutely love interacting with stories through an analytical lens, and getting to rediscover new aspects to a story narratively and thematically after multiple rereads or watches is exhilarating. I love the feeling of dots connecting in a story in a way I hadn't noticed before, and the fact that I forget so much at first can actually help me approach narratives from different points of view each time I engage with them. If I only vaguely remember what's happening on my first few times through, my opinions and biases are created by going through stories a second, third, or seventh time. I feel like this helps me avoid having too many of my biases connected to first impressions, as I often see characters very differently after I've re-experienced their arcs several times. My terrible memory mixed with my passion for analysis are mirrored through my ability, and I think it represents me pretty well. If any of you would be interested in or already have created your own Nen abilities, I'd love to hear about them in the comment section or over at my Twitter, link in the description. I had a really fun time writing this video, and I could see creating more abilities than just this one, as my bad memory and love for analysis aren't my only defining characteristics. If you'd be interested in me creating more abilities, let me know. This has been Evan. Thank you for watching.